Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video on my channel Vision Basic. I'm going to start out by changing some screen colors here to give you guys better contrast. So let's start with that. We're going to go with let's do, wait, I'll find it eventually. Okay, purple border and black screen, yeah, and light blue text. Okay, and we'll go back. We're not going to save the settings for now, and there you go. In this video, I'm going to talk about the add-on pack that comes with Vision Basic. One of the major strengths of Vision Basic is that new commands can be added by the programmer. You create a routine that accepts parameters and which performs a desired task, and that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So if you want to create a command that draws triangles, you could create the required routine and then call it with whatever name you want to give it. So like, how about we create one, we could create a routine for drawing triangles, for example, and we can call the command triangle, and we would give it an XY coordinate and a given size, and this is how we would, this is one way we can call our routine. So it's really that simple. You just have to create the routine that draws it, though. Now Vision Basic already adds a pretty hefty library of support routines to your programs, much like how Blitz adds some bulk to your program size. And Vision Basic is no different. But if I had added every conceivable command and function to Vision Basic that I would have wanted to, this would have left a lot less room for your programs to fit inside of that limited 64K. So I opted to leave out certain commands that I deemed unessential. You don't need code that draws bitmap circles, taking up space in every one of your programs. Despite adding the necessary support routines to all of your basic programs and taking up precious memory, Vision Basic makes up for this by unleashing the memory beneath basic ROM and running things all the way up to location 53,247. So, you know how C64 Basic tells you that you pretty much have only 38K of program space to work with, right? Well, by opening up the RAM under basic ROM, Vision Basic also gives you about 36K to 40K to work with in this fashion. So the results are roughly the same, and the support library gets included. Alright, let's run the add-on pack demo that is integrated into the add-on. The extra added lines should be deleted before using this add-on pack, and this can actually be done with a single command from Debug Mode. So let me get down here. Here we go. We just use the delete command to delete those extra lines, something normal basic does not provide. And then you're asked, are you sure? And for now we're going to say no. But this is what you would do if you want to use the add-on pack in your own program. Alright, and anyways, that's all there is to it. And now we're going to run it. Now this add-on pack brings back certain functions that I intentionally left out of Vision Basic. This includes the square root function, the sine, the cosine, and the tangent. And after the passes, there you go. Okay, see? Alright, so we have functions added here. Calculate square root, and some examples. Calculate sine, another example, and the results. Calculate cosine, and the results again. And, this is just uber exciting, folks. Calculate tangent. Anyways, basically, I think you get the gist. The formatting is different from what you might be used to, but this is basically how it works. Now these functions are accurate to a number of decimal places and are not intended for ultra precise calculations and such. I designed Vision Basic mainly for games and applications, and didn't design it to be used to create like a scientific calculator or something like that. So you can generally expect these functions to be accurate for several several decimal places. The main goal of this add-on pack is to add some useful bitmap commands to your arsenal. And we'll start with the first one, the box command. And I'll just read this. This command draws filled, unfilled boxes with or without borders of your choice of thickness. Press a key to see it in action. And these are all the different parameters. The program actually explains, if you look at the source code, it explains all these. So I'm not going to explain all of this stuff. You got your X and Y coordinate, your width, your height, your color, border X and border Y, I think. Anyhow, let's go ahead and see it. And there you go. If you need a box, there you go. It's going to draw it for you, folks. Okay, on to the next one. Circle command. Basically, your garden variety circle command, X and Y, X radius, Y radius, and color. So it uses the sine and cosine functions, so those will have to remain intact if you're going to use this command. The sine and cosine functions will need to be intact, including the circle code. So anyhow, so let's see the demonstration here, folks. Boom. Alright, pretty quick. And now we come to a pretty powerful command here. It has many uses and allows for the rotation of created shapes. So you can actually use this to draw circles as well. But the neat thing about it is that, like, say if you draw a circle and you rotate it, it's not going to look any different. But if you draw like an ellipse or something like that, you can rotate the ellipse, and that's one of the benefits of this command. And again, the program explains all these different parameters up here. But let's go ahead and watch the demo. Alright, and these are all arcs. And then these are kind of also arcs, not really. But as you can see, the arc command can be used to draw certain shapes and line. Basically this, like the triangles here, follow the arc shape that you give it, and then it's almost like taking this one here and just going from point to point. So it'd be like from here to here, to here and back. But that's basically how the arc command works. There's a lot of flexibility. You can use it to draw arcs and even circles, and rotate those circles, or ellipses or ovals or whatever. And then also draw nifty shapes like triangles and squares and different polygons. Alright, on to the next command that's added. Okay, here we have the oval command. Now this is essentially the same thing as drawing a circle, but this one uses the circle formula, so you don't even have to have the sine and cosine functions present to draw these. So you could immediately start using this command, and it draws them in a slightly different fashion, as you will see. Green circles. Okay. And finally, this command draws filled circles and ellipses using the circle formula. Pattern fills are allowed. It essentially draws filled circles, folks. Okay, you'll notice that it slows down a little at one point due to the color palette change. I make changes as the circles are being drawn to the palette so that we can display all 16 colors at once on a bitmap screen. So just keep that in mind as you watch it slow down slightly. And there's the slowdown. Anyhow, as you can see, there are all 16 colors present here. And using more than 4 plotting colors may take some clever pre-planning on your part. So just keep that in mind. I mean, I managed to pre-plan it in such a way to prevent issues. A lot of people understand what I'm talking about. But you know, if you put this guy over here next to these other colors here, you're going to see some interference. So this was carefully planned out. That's all I'm going to say. Alright, we're going to exit the program. You can load an add-on pack and just add your program to it, or place the pack into another program bank, and it can be saved along with your main program even if it's in another bank. Honestly, add-on packs could be created to add all kinds of new functionality to Vision Basic. For example, a person could create a SID playing add-on and share it with others if they like. I'm no expert in the realm of SID players, so I probably won't be making an add-on like that, but I will make other packs available as I have the free time to make them myself. So, anyhow, let's see this add-on pack in actual use beyond the demo you just saw. So, here we're going to type new, then we're going to get the directory up, load, globe demo. We don't need to type in the .8. And this is Vice, so it's going to load things a little quicker, at least the way I have it set up, but the program's not really that huge anyways. And we're going to run it. Now, I think this demo will impress. It creates an animated globe in bitmap mode and stores the individual frames to the REU, just like the first video I posted on YouTube. The arc function gets used quite extensively. The process of drawing the globe is very calculation intensive, so the arc drawing is not super fast. This is mainly because the arcs are being rotated around a center axis. If not for this rotation, they would draw a lot quicker. I want to point out that this is a kind of fake 3D. Making a real 3D globe would be even more calculation intensive. You should be able to notice that there are poles on the top and bottom in a second here, but also on both sides of the globe. So here we have north, south. We also have poles on the side. And this is not normally how you would draw a 3D circle. The horizontal lines would be more horizontal. They wouldn't be converging on poles. But the illusion here of 3D will work for this demo, so we're just going to accept it for now, okay? And you'll see when it's done. The cool thing about Vice is that we can put it into warp mode and minimize things for a bit, so that's what we're going to do. Put it in warp. And then we're going to minimize it so it can go even faster. Now, I also want to point out that this isn't necessarily an easy peasy demo to put together. If you're not mathematically inclined, don't expect to whip up stuff like this without understanding a little geometry. But plenty of cool animations can be created in bitmap mode in Vision Basic, and especially if you employ the REU. So if you're not mathematically inclined, don't worry about it. You can create some really cool stuff regardless. And let's see if it's done. Yeah, okay. Alright. Wait, gotta get out of warp mode or this is really gonna like make you dizzy. Okay, turn off warp mode. Alright, let's see the finished product. Be amazed. I don't know. You may be, you may not be. Aside from the Z-axis rotation and side-to-side movement, I also made it rotate about the Y-axis, the vertical one. Kind of makes me dizzy looking at it. I think this demo requires about 563K of REU memory on top of that used by Vision Basic itself. So yeah, you're going to need, I mean, I guess at least, see, 1024K to do something like this, I guess. anyhow, excuse my gravelly voice. I'm talking a lot apparently, and that's causing it to get gravelly. Okay. I'm doing this very, even though I'm scripting this somewhat, it's still somewhat impromptu, and I just want to get this done rather quickly. I feel like I'm having a cold come on, and I don't want to delay this, so. Anyhow, the actual code to program this isn't very long. The the add-on pack actually adds the majority of the bulk, but anyhow, yeah, the code's not very long. It doesn't take much to create this demo actually, so this would be a good time to introduce the lister command, which allows for more controlled listing. All right, now watch this. You can scroll down, you can scroll up, you can go down by pages, go up by pages, and yeah, you can pretty much scan an entire program. So I bet you wish that you can do this in regular C64 BASIC. Am I right? Now, I'm not going to explain all of the commands in this video, and especially in this program. And it's been a while since I programmed this. Some folks wanted to know what a Vision Basic program might look like, and so here you go. In line 120, you can see the new sign function being used right here, calc sign. And also in line 220, calc sign. Okay. In lines 240, let's see here. Oops. Oh, sorry, I got to scroll down. Okay, 240 and okay, 240 and 340 and 390. You can see the arc command in action. And in lines 320 and 370, you can see the calc cosine function being used. And I have to scroll down a little more. In lines 410 and 520, you can see that we are using the stash and fetch commands that you may be familiar with. One important feature of Vision Basic's RU commands is that they work around the 512K wraparound issue that I explained in my first video, the one about the using an RU from BASIC. Use your RU without fear, peoples. The add-on pack starts with line 1995 and onward, so we're going to get down there. Okay, so right about here. Now you can have local and global variables, but global ones cannot be accessed in local zones, and local variables cannot be accessed in global ones. This allows you to use whatever variables you wish in your add-on packs and user-defined commands without having to avoid them and without having to worry about conflicts with your main program. And basically what I'm saying here is that you can have, say, this variable here in your add-on pack or your user-defined functions, and you can use it in the rest of your program without worrying about conflicts because they'll be treated as two entirely different variables. And that's basically the purpose for the local command. It makes everything local. And then when you use the global command, it brings things back to, you know, the regular variables. It's about I'm tongue twisting here. Okay. Essentially, all of these lines here are for math calculations. Here I mix basic and machine language, one of Vision Basic's strengths. So let's see, you got essentially a basic command, basic commands, basic, basic, and then further down you can just see things like LSR, ROR. This is basically how easy it is to mix basic and machine language together. Just basically right here. Anyhow, I can scroll through the rest of the program here. Just for the curious, just about how things are structured. Here you can see the this is actually just a comment, just like you would see in machine language. This doesn't actually do anything. It's a comment, so it just tells you the layout. And then here you can see the essentially basically the same layout in the procedure itself. So machine language command, non-machine language command. I mean, it's just whatever you want to do. My thing with using machine language in Vision Basic is to use machine language in the parts where you need it the most. So you're not stuck, having to print, text to the screen using machine language when you could just simply use a print statement, And let's get through the rest of it here. And there's the end. So not too terribly long. Anyhow, it is important to note that when you need to use sine and cosine values in your programs, it's actually better to already have a table of them present in your program or an array of values created at the start of your program. Having to calculate them on the fly is only going to slow your program down. In a future video, I might show you how to take an array of sine and cosine values and then output the array to disk as a separate file. If done the right way, you can actually have the file loaded directly into the area of memory where your array is stored. And this can save you from having to actually calculate your sines and cosines even ahead of time. You just have to load the file. So anyways, I think that'll appear on a future video if you're interested. Now, Vision Basic uses the RU to store pretty much everything related to your program. Your main program can be up to 96K of source code, that's quite hefty, and more source code can be added to the extra provided program banks. This ample space provides tons of room so that you can add plenty of program comments if you'd like. But the use of an RU does come with a cost, in the form of a bottleneck. As far as compiling speed is concerned, data has to constantly be fetched and stashed to the RU. In an updated version of the software, I plan to move some of the data back to the C64 side to help improve things there. The nice thing about using Vice is that you can simply invoke warp mode every time you compile. So, let me break out of here and show you. And we'll compile it. Just compile, we're not going to run it. And then I'll do warp mode real quick and you'll see what I'm talking about. So, done. It says it took 9 seconds, but we got it done in like 1 or 2. So yeah, this is one of the benefits of using Vision Basic with Vice. So if you get like really big programs and it's just kind of going a little slow for you, consider porting over to Vice to finish things up. But Vision Basic does support select accelerators to also improve compile times. There is also a command to reduce the number of passes required. I decided to call that the debug mode. I decided to call the command debug. It really doesn't debug anything. I just couldn't think of a better word for it, so I apologize for that. If I think of a better word for this, I'll rename it something else. But basically, it just skips some important steps in the compiling process. Your program will be a little bit bigger and things might be a tiny bit slower, but generally you won't see your programs go beyond 3 or 4 passes. Alright, in order to help increase compile speed, Vision Basic does have a couple format limitations. For example, calculations are performed strictly left to right, so instead of typing down here, PS equals, wait, sorry, no, I'm using a regular keyboard. I forgot where the equals, okay, there you are. PS equals 1024, I'm doing this on a regular computer, not a in Vice, so yeah. Anyways, plus X plus Y times 40. Okay, so this is what you might typically use to do you might use this for positioning on a regular text screen. The problem comes with the order of execution. It's going to do it in order, so everything is going to get multiplied by 40. So essentially what you do, what you change it to is PS equals y times 40 plus x plus 1024. And there's your solution. So pretty simple. Alright, and I'm not pressing return, I'm pressing shift return. It's not going to execute anything here. And parentheses are only reserved for Boolean expressions as such. Okay. X equals, X minus, there you go. M dollar equals, equals. This is getting annoying. You might see this if you're doing like cursor movements for an X coordinate. Nope. I wish I could type this faster. I kind of should have laid this out the way I did for one of my previous videos. Boom, boom, and nope, boom. Okay. Yeah, it's confusing going back and forth between Commodore keyboard and a PC keyboard. Even though the layout is, you know, supposedly right. I don't know. It's just confusing for me. Anyways, so basically the point I'm trying to make is you can do this in Vision Basic. This is these are Boolean expressions, and they're perfectly legit. I tried to retain a lot of stuff in Vision Basic that you might normally use in regular Basic. So, okay, this math expression assumes that x is integer, but if x is decimal, then the plus and minus signs will need to be opposite. So, you would just basically nope, plus minus. Excuse my confusion, people. Alright, so you would this would look actually more normal if you were doing decimal variables. The reason why you would do it opposite for integers is because Boolean results are typically 0 and -1, but integer numbers are completely positive, so negative values are stripped of their signs in the calculations. So, and math expressions cannot be used as parameters either in Vision Basic. Again, part of the reason for these limitations has to do with compile speed. So if you need to poke to a particular address, just set it up like so. And we'll just use our little, well, you know what? I'll just go up here and save some time instead of trying to type it over. And then we'll just use that as our position, and then we'll poke PS 160. So it's really an easy solution. But these minor limitations will not stop you from creating cool stuff like in the demo we just saw. And the speed you gain will be incredibly worth it. And in many ways your code will be shorter because you won't need to constantly poke and peek and or a bit here and there, like an actual bit, 1 and 0. See, in regular Basic, if you want to turn on multicolor mode, you're typically told to type the following: poke 53270, peek 53270, or 16. And this is typically how you would do it in regular Basic. At least this is the proper way to do it. But in Vision Basic, all you need to type is this. And this would turn on multicolor mode. So there you go. So give a little, but get so much more in return. So some folks have been questioning if Vision Basic is right for them. All I can do is tell you why it is right for me. I was always frustrated when programming my Commodore 64. Basic was usually too slow. Machine language was always too tedious. Commodore Basic didn't offer any sound and graphics commands. Mixing Basic and machine language was often just messy. So I created Vision Basic, and I am convinced that I can create pretty much anything I want to with it, and far more easily than with Basic alone or machine language alone. Some people might want to just stick completely with machine language, and that's okay. Vision Basic does function as an assembler, and you can create entire machine language programs with it. The syntax is a little different, but one cool feature of Vision Basic is that you don't have to worry about branching distances. if you have a line like this, did I press A? My goodness. Okay. If you have a line like this, let's see, LDA, BA, compare to 20, and BCC 6000. Okay, so say you have a line like this in Vision Basic. You don't need to worry about how far that BCC jump will be. Vision Basic takes care of it. You won't get an error. The program will run. And I prefer being able to type multiple instructions on the same line like this. But that's just my preference. I mean, when you have machine language code that looks like this, we'll get there, folks. Hold on. Okay, you've already eaten up 7 screen lines, and there are only 25 of them visible at a time, you know? Another issue I have with assembly code is readability. In Vision Basic, you can type the following. And I mean, this is just, it's like almost like duh, right? Sorry if I can get the thing right. Just 1,000. Okay, and you'll get pretty quick results, especially if VA is an integer. Vision Basic does use accumulators and zero page to perform math calculations, so cycles are lost in the process. But this provides for greater flexibility. But you can also type this instead, and Vision Basic sends out those same 7 machine language instructions above. So you'll get machine language speeds right there in this example for sure. But you also gain readability, and it only takes up part of a single line instead of this mess right here. And readability has always been the goal. I've looked at a lot of other languages like JavaScript and several others, and it's just not the same to me. Even with all of that extra formatting, aka structured programming, no, maybe I'm just too comfortable with BASIC, I don't know. But to me, BASIC is just very readable, very English, and just, I don't know. It's my favorite language. Okay, like for example, you want to make sounds, you can change the volume with vol. You can set the waveform with wave. And you can use, guess what? Not envelope. ADSR for attack, decay, sustain, release. To set your attack, decay, sustain, release. Okay, anyways, I opted out of using the word envelope due to its length. Ironically, as far as long words are concerned, you can select lowercase mode with the word lowercase. Yeah, so there's one long word if you want a long word. Anyhow. And are you tired of the usual method to grab a key press? I'll give you an example. We have to add the clear here when you work with strings, or it can do some really weird stuff. But anyways, get to $. If $$ equals nothing, then 0. This is typically how you would fetch a key press. So when you run it, here it is waiting, and then voila. That's the typical way of doing it. You have another option in Vision Basic. You could type this, and it works pretty much the same. You don't need to use strings, or better yet, just use the key press command. Oops, sorry. And there's one of my, I do have one weird error here. Errors are actually quite detailed. In this case, some of them just create a someone goofed error. Basically here, I'm not supposed to type this without the, direct mode, greater than sign. And there you go. Sorry, I kind of messed that one up. But anyways, yeah, it does the same thing. So yeah, you don't need to type all this, at least all this right here. I mean, key press, boom, does it. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Or maybe you just want to check for a specific key. So, wait, forgot that thing. Okay. Nope. Key press. So much for being more impromptu. I tell you. Let's just say, oops. Let's just say you want to do the Q key. Okay, and basically it's going to just sit there and wait until I press Q. Boom. There you go. And then maybe you want to do two keys. That's easily done as well with the same command. So it's a little more involved than this, but basically I'll just do the quick part here. This command is usually followed by, if you're going to do two key presses, it's going to be followed by a further branching instruction. But essentially this is the format though. You know, if you ask your users to press Y or N, this is how you would do it. And then further instructions would follow. And keep in mind that if Vision Basic can compile itself, then what can't you create with it? I personally plan to use Vision Basic for everything I make from here on out. Anyhow, I want to show you all what to expect from the software packages I'm selling. The images on my website don't really capture the full essence of what you'll get as far as quality is concerned. Keep that in mind. The t-shirts, the first 100 or so anyhow, will have a launch date printed on the bottom. I apologize for the echo in the following clips. I don't have soundproofing in place, so alright, here goes. Alright folks, if you order the boxed edition of Vision Basic, this is what you'll get. A very sturdy box to store your investment in. As you can see, it's a lot thicker than your traditional software boxes. I also added a cute little thing of Herald here on the side here. Inside, you'll find the Vision Basic manual, 318 pages of pure joy. And on the back side, lots of cool imagery and the recommendations. And inside, I'll give you a little peek here. What's inside? Just a peek. Don't get too excited. It normally comes with 2 discs with some high quality glossy labels. There you go, got some gloss. Now the spread order disc is a free offering, so oops. So therefore it's printed on like new but used stock. I had a whole bunch of these discs and just never used them. So, and then here's an example of the manual. So inside you'll see very well written, very large text for old eyes like mine. So I don't know, what's it? It's like a little piece of lint here. Okay. Anyhow, every command is explained, I believe, in to substantial depth. So, and also you have some programming examples here. So, anyhow, if this at all interests you, consider buying it. And thank you very much. Oops, we got more things here. But anyhow, people have asked about the package. I think some people think it's rather cheap, and no, this is all high quality stuff, folks. So I also wanted to show you guys the Vision Basic t-shirt. It comes with at least one of the packages. The image is printed on a 100% poly t-shirt. I had hesitations about doing poly, but I actually found it to be quite comfortable, believe it or not. And the reason for printing on poly is because you can get a lot of detail on the poly shirts. So I came up with the idea for this t-shirt. I was just sitting there laying in bed and I just had this image in my head. I was like, well, it would be kind of cool to have the Commodore 64 launch into space or something like that. So anyhow, I just wanted to showcase the quality in case people had questions. I have worn this shirt like a few times, so it's not like brand spanking new or anything like that. But here you go. All right, we're back. keep in mind that not all of my videos will be super interesting. I do want to cover a wide range of topics on my channel, at least in the area of basic programming, and some videos may cater to the complete beginner. I might show off more features of Vision Basic as time goes on. But for now, I'll say goodbye. I'd like to recommend a channel that I like to watch. Maybe you've heard of them, or maybe you've heard of the channel, 8-Bit Show and Tell. I'll put a link to Robin's channel in the description below. If you like the Commodore 64, like I'm sure all of us here do, I mean, you're watching this video, right? Then I'm sure you're going to enjoy his channel, so give it a shot if you haven't, if you haven't seen his channel already. And please hang around for a wee bit longer and you'll see links on screen to my previous videos. And as usual, please like and subscribe and share, and visit visionbasic.net.